Hello guys, welcome to this video. Today I will be talking about the day. I will be talking about some different questions that people in the Discord have asked. And I will also be showing my own trade, which got me $2.5k of profit. To start out guys, we had this Asia high. This is where we had Asia high. And this was at London, middle low. And this was our low from yesterday. Okay, so what were we looking for? We had this new week opening gap here, which everyone might have been kind of confused about this today, so I will be going into it. So all week we've been having this as a target since Tuesday. Well, technically Wednesday made this high on daily chart. Wednesday made the high right, and then ever since we've been dumping right to this volume gap, and now we're kind of not doing much, but we're chilling in it. And so what I was looking at was we had these highs. Okay, so this was our, we had SMT with the Asia high on the London high, okay? Well, that made the London high. So this became our London high. And then we just dumped. But then we went up before like going further down. And then we tapped into this wick, which is wick theory, of course. And then we dumped. We dumped. And then, as I also sent in the Discord, I sent my outlook. I will not be going over everything because that is for students, but I did send my outlook where I was. I sent it when we are 7 New York, and I was saying that I had a level right here. I had a level around there, and I was saying that I was targeting from this level. I was targeting these two draws, which very well indeed did happen. And after that, you might have been thinking, if you have our free model, for example, why did we didn't get a high time from SMT? We didn't get anything down here, right? But that's because when we're in a gap, you will likely not see a high time from SMT if it's this big, you know what I mean? This was an 80-point gap. So there's 80 points with no candles, no SMTs, no anything. Meaning you cannot be expecting an SMT. So after these draws got hit, right? I didn't trade this so far. Enox took a short. Enox took a short right here. And then what I did was I waited for confirmation that we went higher, because after taking these draws I would like to see it go higher, because that's just the usual market that we would want to go up after taking our final draws, obviously. So when we were going up, I longed around here. I longed around here with this stop, and then I was targeting Asia highs for around a 6.3 RR. Here's my executions on it. Yeah. So this was basically my trade for the day. And yeah, now to go to the next part. If you did not, like, I hope you understood this decently at least. And now we're dumping again, of course. After taking our draw. This is quite simple. So yeah, I hope you understood that. So now I will go and answer some of the questions you guys have asked in the Discord. You can always go ask there. We will try to answer as best as we can. But we do have to save some sauce for the students, because we are actually doing a lot of content now. Every weekend we'll be doing like many hours, like we're talking up to 5 hours of content every weekend for students. So they'll be great. Okay, so to answer some of the questions you asked, Plenty and Unaichu. So Plenty asked, for psychology, how do you not overtrade, and how is it, well, like, how to not overtrade and to remember how important it is, and well, basically money and everything with psychology, right? So I will not be able to go over everything in one video, that's a lot, but I will be going over. We can talk about how important it is. Like, you basically have to see yourself as someone who just needs to save their capital, okay? You're already beating 90% of fucking traders if you can just not lose money, okay? If you can not lose money, you're already beating 90%. That's a huge part of traders. You're already beating just because you don't do anything. So that's what you need to remember, to be honest. Like, just remember that, like, if you do nothing, you're successful. Being break-even is success. And yeah, I mean, it can be hard. It definitely can. Like, also depending on how much money you have and what your situation is looking like. Everyone's situation is different, so like how is your situation looking, and like what can you afford and stuff. They can be really hard, but you just have to remember that it's always better to not take a trade than take a trade. You're not putting any risk on the table. You should only be putting risk on the table if it's a great setup. There's no reason to be risking money on something that's not 100% like you want it, okay? Because why would you risk your own money? Would you do something that risky? That's just gambling. That's just gambling. If you risk money on something that you think is not gonna work out, you think it's a low probability that's gonna work out, you're just gambling with your money here, guys. If you want to gamble, go to a fucking casino, okay? Don't go trading. So yeah, I hope that was at least a little bit helpful. You know, we're always chatting in Discord, asking and talking and helping. So yeah. So now Nigel asked, how do we determine if we're in two high time frame PD arrays, one opposing each other? That's something you struggle with. Today we had the failure gap to the left, but also set bearish for failure gap. Sometimes I find it difficult to know what the bias is when that kind of thing happens. To answer that, I can probably best do it on chart. So, he was saying that I think I'm guessing he was talking about the volume gap. And then he was talking about a 4 bearish, yeah, right here, right? So here, this is really, really important, because we made this high in Asia, right? Okay, the only time we tapped into this fall failure gap was in Asia, and then we dumped. You need to think about the open high little close here, okay? So we open up, right? What do we want to see then? We can tap into this in Asia, like such a tiny amount. This can easily be tapped into again after this. Like it's mostly about how you see it, and it can be hard, and that's what like our mentorship is for pretty much. But because it is kind of subjective how you would see this, but to our students we teach that this can easily be tapped into again. There's no reason whatsoever that it could not be tapped into again. So what do we see from here? We dump. We absolutely dump all day. So what's our bias for New York? We're bullish. We're bullish, okay? So that means that we value this gap more than we value this gap, at least for now, because we want to see us tap into it again. We're still bearish overall because we have all this. We have all this extremely bearish structure, right? Extremely bearish. With all these inverses, all these big gaps. Extremely bearish, right? But we can't long for the retrace, because this is not a proper retrace. So what we did was we longed, and then we saw like a proper hit into this fall failure gap. Like if you're looking at them here, zoomed out, you can see that this basically looks like it fucking didn't even hit. It looks like it's just equal highs, you know? Like when it's this close, don't count it, okay? There's no reason to be that precise when all you need to do is think logically, okay? So here we have an open, we have a low, we have our highs, and we have our close. That simple. But yeah, I understand it's hard for many people. That's why you kind of need a mentor, like, or at least a mentor will make it 100 times quicker, faster for you, like in these kind of situations. Like, what do you do here? You don't know. How would you know? This is why a mentor is great at helping you, and that doesn't have to be us. It can be anyone that knows what they're talking about, okay? Like, I just want you to know that our mentor will help you no matter who it is. It does not have to be us, okay? If you want it to be us, that's cool. I'm excited to meet you, but it does not have to be us. Anyone that can help you with this, because that's what you need. You need someone to guide you. Okay, so I think that was enough yap. I think that was enough yap for you guys. Of course, we have a lot of things in this small move. Just this little small move. We have so much that I actually wrote like a whole text about it for the students. Just in a tiny move. There's a lot of interesting things happening here. which I will not be able to say to all of you guys, but yeah, there's a ton of small things happening here that you need to take a look at to basically predict everything. Okay, this is what it's all about. Goodbye.